that the whipper has agreed that there won't be motions for today. Therefore, we'll proceed to the Secretary reading the first order of the day.
Policy debate on budget vote number 24, Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries Appropriation Bill, Bill 6 of 2015.
Welcoming the Minister, I'll then take the opportunity to invite the Minister to.
Honorable Chairperson, members of the Select Committee on Agriculture, Honorable Ministers, if any present, Deputy Ministers, members of the Executive Councils of Agriculture, members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Sanibonani, Molweni, Dumelang, Goeiemorgen. It is a privilege and honor to present the second budget on agriculture, forests and fisheries in the 5th Democratic Parliament, Budget Vote 26. Chairperson, this year, 2015, marks the 60th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter during the Congress of the People on 26 June 1955 in Kliptown, Soweto. The Charter is one of the founding documents of our democracy, demanding inclusivity in its opening lines. South Africa belongs to all who live in it. In an article in the June 1956 issued Liberation headed, "In our lifetime, former President Nelson Mandela described the Freedom Charter as a beacon to the Congress movement and inspiration to the people of South Africa." Honorable members, this is celebrated Africa Day, the day on which the Organization of African Unity, the precursor to the AU, was formed in 1963. We have commemorated the Youth Day on June 16. It was preceded by a Youth Month launch in partnership with the People's Team Santos in Cape Town on the 1st of June, followed by the commemoration at the Tsolo Agricultural and Rural Development Institute in partnership with Umtata City FC on June 13. The department is taking youth mobilization to the provinces and has dedicated targeted days identified during the month of June 2015 to promote and raise awareness on agriculture, forestry and fisheries as sectors of the future for the youth. On Saturday, 20th June, the department will commemorate the Youth Month through Career Expo in Groblersdal. Honorable members, please join me in giving youth in agriculture, forestry and fisheries hope and impress upon them that they hold the food security of South Africa and Africa in their hands. Honorable members, the mandate of the Department of Agriculture and Fisheries is to ensure that food security is guaranteed. Our mandate has been reinforced by the recommendations and targets in the National Development Plan, the New Growth Path, Industrial Policy Action Plan, and the Medium-Term Strategic Framework outcomes. In March 2015, Cabinet approved the Agricultural Policy Action Plan and the Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries Framework, whose emphasis is on value chain development. The 2015 State of the Nation Address identified the 9 priorities for economic growth, one of which is revitalizing of the cultural and agro-processing value chain. APAP forms the basis of this priority. The recommendations and targets are as follows. The NDP sees agriculture as having the potential to create 1 million jobs by 2030. Through the Fetsatlala Integrated Food Production Initiative, we have targeted to deliver 1 million hectares by 2019, supporting 300,000 smallholder producers by 2019, expanding hectares under irrigation to 2 million by 2030. Honorable Chairperson and members, the department is responsible for the formulation of policy and regulations and creating an enabling environment. Our provincial counterparts are responsible for the implementation of those policies. We are allocating control grants to realize these government objectives. Also continuing to improve on our monitoring mechanism to ensure that those grants achieve the intended outcomes. We notice that it is not sufficient to provide smallholder farmers with land and capital alone. They must be empowered to manage their businesses effectively and profitably in a competitive and often hostile environment, and as such, through these programs that are implemented in the provinces. We provide support to farmers in the form of farm infrastructure, production inputs, training and capacity building, market access and extension services. Chairperson, in the past financial year, 2.3 billion rand was made available to support smallholder farmers through comprehensive agricultural support program and the Ilimali Tsema program. In the Eastern Cape, 20,044 small farmers were supported and 18,069 hectares were put under the production of maize. Altogether, 9,943 farmers were supported in the Free State and 6,936 hectares of land were put under production. Gauteng supported 231 farmers and put 2,547 hectares of land under production. In KwaZulu-Natal, supported 7,306 farmers and put 12,789 hectares of land under production. The province also continued with the revitalization of the Makhathini irrigation scheme in Indumo and Bulelwane, among others. Limpopo supported 1,779 farmers and put 41,419 hectares of vegetables, maize, and fruit, among others, under production. Mpumalanga supported 9,415 farmers and put 31,032 hectares of maize under production. Northern Cape supported 2,119 farmers and put 945 hectares of grapes, maize, and vegetables under production. The province further realized 419 hectares of land in fall huts and constructed 2 overnight reservoir dams. Northwest supported 7,158 farmers and put 13,554 hectares of land under production. And lastly, Western Cape supported 2,759 farmers and put 3,523 hectares of vegetables, grapes, and grain under production. All the above initiatives are supported in the FESATLALA program. Total value of budget, vote 24 for 2015-2016 is 6.3 billion rands, of which 3.7 billion rands is ring-fenced and transferred to conditional grants and parliamentary grants, broken down as follows. In terms of conditional grants, 1.6 billion has been allocated to CASP, 471 million to Ilimali Tsema, 666.4 million to Land Care Program. The provinces allocated funds as follows. Eastern Cape will receive allocation of 312 million rands, Free State 232 million, Gauteng 106 million, KwaZulu-Natal 296 million, Limpopo 312 million, Mpumalanga 216 million, Northern Cape 205 million, Northwest 245 million, Western Cape 196 million. Chairperson, honorable members, we have set specific targets for utilization of 2015-2016 conditional grants. 678 million will be directed to FESATLALA initiative, which will bring 128,000 hectares of land under production. Total of 515 projects across provinces from both conditional grants will be supported, reaching about 27,000 smallholder farmers. 160 vulnerable households will be assisted to produce their own food through household food gardens. Approximately 31,000 decent jobs will be created in 2015-2016 from these interventions. Honourable members, I can assure the House that due diligence was undertaken through operations of the pre-national assessment panel, and the department revised the planning and reporting criteria to improve the alignment of provincial business plans for the conditional grants to the new mandate. Chairperson, honourable members, CASP was subjected to an impact evaluation study, which has shown that 84% of farmers who have been supported have access to markets, although only 13% access formal markets. We are currently in the process of linking smallholder farmers to markets. We appreciate the findings and recommendations of the report, and we will be working with stakeholders to develop the improvement plans. Through CASP, we have seen the establishment and infrastructure for the production and marketing of smallholder farmers in the form of animal handling facilities, piggery structures, maize mills, feedlots, pack houses, storage facilities, abattoirs, and so forth. Farmers are being enabled to have resources that will enable them to run productive and viable enterprises. In the Eastern Cape, Honorable Chairperson, 20 shearing sheds were built in the 2013-2014 financial year. Government partnered with the National Wool Growers Association to train farmers and provide markets. The wool value increased from 5 rands per kilogram to 35 grams per kilogram, which was an income in the pockets of the subsistence farm producers. We have sustained our on-farm conservation program in the Komanzi local municipality in Mpumalanga. 5 land race or local cultivars, namely watermelon, cow pear, bambara, pumpkin, and sorghum, which were stored in the National Gene Bank, were given back to 10 farmers for propagation. We have also recorded our efforts towards the conservation of indigenous speckled goat and Namakwa Afrikaner sheep breeds, working with communities in the Joe Morolong local municipality in the Northern Cape. These are efforts to preserve and perpetuate breeds and cultivars that are suited to local conditions. In 2014-2015, total of 2,836 work opportunities were created by the Land Care Conditional Grant, which rehabilitated 33,000 hectares of range and cultivated land to ensure production. The target for land care in 2015-2016 is to protect 16,000 hectares through various measures, such as fencing of arable land and the clearing of weeds and invader plants. In an effort to correct the exclusion of the small-scale fishers in the sector, when developed the small-scale fisheries policy in 2012, leading to the small-scale fisheries implementation plan, and made the necessary amendments to the Marine Living Resources Amendment Act in 2014 to reflect the regulation of small-scale fisheries. This program will enhance transformation in the fisheries sector, benefiting the coastal communities in the 4 coastal provinces. Subsequent to the expiry of the long-term fishing rights that were located in 2005-2006, 9 expired in 2015, with extensions granted until February 2016, while the government prepares for allocation of those fishing rights. The appeals for the fishing rights allocation, FLAP 2013, has started during the month of May. A panel of experts to assess the appeals have been established. This work is expected to finish during the month of August 2015. The process of allocating the rights that expire during 2015 of all 10 sectors has actually been running and will be completed in February 2016. In October 2014, Honorable President Jacob Zuma launched the Operation Pakisa Oceans Economy, which includes the development of aquaculture both in the ocean space and on land space. We're making progress in resolving the bottlenecks in the establishment of the aquaculture enterprises. Altogether, 23 projects have been prioritized as ready to implement and will be used as test cases to unblock the bureaucratic and red tape in doing aquaculture enterprise development. In terms of our legislative framework, 3 bills were approved by Cabinet in December 2014. Parliament is currently deliberating on the Plant Breeders' Rights Bill, Plant Improvement Bill, and Performing Animals Protection Amendment Bill. In forestry, Cabinet will commission 21,000 hectares of plantation of forestry in the Western Cape and 2,000 hectares in Mpumalanga. This will come in handy in obviating the timber shortage and contributing to jobs in the country. To conclude, I'm proud to announce that South Africa will host the 14th World Congress from 7 to 11 September 2015 in Durban. The World Forestry Congress is the largest and most significant gathering of the world's forestry sector, bringing together global interested parties and organizations from across the world. Multilateral agencies, NGOs, governments, and private sector, scientific and professional bodies will be part of those who will be invited. Congress is held every 6 years since 1926, under the auspices of the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. And this will be the first time it will take place on the African soil. Confident that the country is geared up and will host this prestigious event and warmly welcome the delegates. Chairperson, we are currently hosting a series of events in the build-up towards the Congress. Deputy Minister has held meetings in New York, Rome to promote the Forestry Congress. Other national activities include the Forestry Indaba to be held in July, followed by the annual Upper Week launch, which is the final springboard before the Congress. Chairperson, we've stated that stakeholder mobilization in the three sectors will not be done on a hit-and-run basis. I have already launched June month as the Youth Month with the World Ocean Day, which was celebrated on 8th June under the theme, Healthy Oceans, Wealthy Planet. We'll conclude this event on 30th June. August month will be celebrated, the celebration of the Women's Month, which will include the annual Female Entrepreneur Awards. In September, it has been set aside for the World Forestry Congress, whose main event will be during the week of 7 to 11 September. October will be the Food Security Month, which includes the World Food Day, as we emphasize the need to eradicate hunger. I would like to take the opportunity to thank every board department who have been part of the team that has made this work possible. I would like to thank the Deputy Minister, General Pekitele, for his agility and hard work. He was in Rome attending the conference during the budget vote. I thank the chairperson and members of the select committee on agriculture. I would like to thank the 9 MECs for agriculture and support hard work. I appreciate the hard work done by the Director General, Edith Freeze, and her management and staff to make sure that we present this vote. And out of my chairperson, we are doing more work. We are in the process now of harvesting 26 bulls in one of our centers in the Eastern Cape that produces Ngoni pure breeds, to make sure that our people are able to benefit from that hardened set of animals, so we can change and create value for our own farmers. We're working with the private sector so that we are able to make sure that people in what areas will use their land. On the 6th of next month, we have been invited to partner with Patrice Matsepe, as we'll be issuing donations to kings and queens. So that man is not using anything except agriculture. We believe that working together, looking at all the institutions of training, putting all those young kids into agriculture, this country will be free of hunger, unemployment, and other ills. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May I therefore call on Honorable Sefako, the chairperson of the Select Committee, to continue the debate.
Honorable Chairperson, honorable members of this august House, honorable Minister, Deputy Ministers, honorable MECs, distinguished guests, our viewers, our listeners, it is indeed a great pleasure to be offered this opportunity to participate in this budget vote 24 of the Department of Agriculture, Fishery and Forestry. It takes place at a time that was characterized by one of the writers in his classic work, Charles Dickens, has this to say, I quote, "It is the best of time, it is the worst of time." It happens while South Africa is celebrating its 21st democracy. It is also happening 2 days after the commemorations of the gallant fighters, the youth of these countries, fighting against the apartheid regime, for the language that was forced for them to be enslaved as farm workers, as the garden boys and the kitchen girls. They fought that language. It happens also equally in a period that has been declared by the president of this country as the year of the Freedom Charter. It is equally the waste of time, because in 1913, Act number 27, a notorious Native Act, was passed, which marginalized, which ensured that the bulk of the land should be in the few hands of the white minority, and 13% of the land being in the hands of the majority of this country. That is the West in our history. Honorable Chair, successful economy, successful farmers are indeed successful because of having the ownership of the land. We can therefore not divorce agriculture from the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development. They are integrated and interdependent. The Freedom Charter states very well, very clear. That is the vision of the people of South Africa. There is a disturbance, Honorable Chair, and I hope I'm protected. Okay. Oh, she's dreaming aloud. Okay.
Let's continue the debate, Honorable Member. Honorable Sefako, can you continue the debate?
The Department of Agriculture has the potential to play an important role in addressing poverty, inequality, really disturbing me, but otherwise.
Can you just ignore and continue?
It is indeed a great okay. I say the Department of Agriculture plays an important role in ensuring that this stubborn poverty, inequality is reduced. Bring back what?
Honorable Sefako, just focus on the debate and avoid engaging with members directly.
Honorable Chair, it is true, as reflected in the President's of the Republic of South Africa speech, that South Africa is a better place to live in today than it was before 1994. The ANC, ever since its inception, has been fighting to unite the people of South Africa and mobilize them. The Freedom Charter says the land shall be shared amongst those who worked. The restrictions of land ownership on a racial basis shall be ended, and all the land redivided amongst those who work it. Close quote. The Freedom Charter is a precursor of our constitutions. And the Constitution is the supreme law of this country, which indeed put it very clear as to how to address and redress the imbalances of the past. South Africa will never allow, South Africa led by the ANC will never allow the land grab or the land rush. As we are seeing...
Honorable Mateus, just hold, Honorable Sefako. I said it yesterday, and I don't have to repeat it again. Say that there's nothing wrong in heckling, but don't interfere. Don't cloud the member who is speaking. And you are on the speaker's list, and I would expect nobody to interrupt with your speech. So please, may you allow the member to continue with the debate without interrupting the member. You don't have to engage with the member. On what point are you rising now?
If I can address you, because I'm just
No, on what point are
confused
you
here.
rising now? You can't address me because I'm
just
trying to
addressed
bring
me,
something to your
Chairperson.
attention.
On what point did you address me? Because I'm asking
Interruption,
if I
the
can
rule
address
on
you.
interruption,
No,
because
there's
you are
no
interrupting the
interruption.
member.
You must explain what's the difference between heckling and I don't know.
No, the minute you start engaging with the member directly, you are interrupting.
I'm
And in
making
terms of the rules,
comments. How's that interrupting?
the rules of this house does not allow a member
I'm making
to be
comments.
interrupted
I'm
whilst
not
presenting his or her
interrupting
budget
him.
vote
I didn't
debate.
stand on a point of order. I'm just making comments.
Honorable
to
member,
the
I'm just
speaker's speech. So you must
bringing
just
it to
be
your
clear
attention,
what's the difference of it.
because the
That's all.
member feels interrupted.
Oh, we feel
Please,
interrupted
may you
all the
refrain
time
from
and
doing
we
that.
have to deal with it.
May you refrain from doing that. Can you continue, honorable member?
Ke a leboga modulasetilo. Ke leboge kgato e setseng e tserwe ke tona la temo jwalo a ditlhare le go gola ditlhapi. Go a bontsha gore ke nnete puso ena e eteletsweng pele ke African National Congress. Puso ya African National Congress e gatela pele bao ba itirang disanang thope ka ba tlola re gatela pele wa lala wa sala
Yes.
wa lala.
Just hold, Honorable Sefako. Honorable Smith, on what point are you rising?
Honorable Chair, sorry for interrupting, but the translation in English is not available. I hear that they're speaking in the background, but they don't do the translation.
Can the technical services address the issue of translation, please? Continue the debate, Honorable.
Re gatela pele. Ke utlwile gore tona ya tsa temo mo matsatsing a sa fediseng pelo o tla be a ba dipoana dipoo tsa dinguni and ga ile ko Durban o setse re le mo nakong ya go gola ditlhapi. Dilo tsa gago di tlala satla. Re bone ko Botaung ko Northwest ha o ya ko bo Bretse bashimane le basetsana ra ba bona ba tnametse diterekere go a lengwa go gatelwa pele ba ba itirileng bo tlhogo moimele ra ba sia re gatela pele mme ra mogologolo o rile phala e senang phalana ke lesilo botlhale jwa phala bo tswa phalaneng o itse gore ga e le ngwana ene yo a tlhogokgolo ba re o sira motsadi wa gagwe motšha o mo rate o mo ratele matlhagatlhaga a gagwe mme fela o mo ele tlhoko ka gore a ka go swabisa ba re botlhale jwa gagwe mo maragong ya re ga a kgonama bo tshologe ke ka moo mo re gore re ka se ka ra siana le go ela tlhoko bo mabina go tsholwa ba e leng gone ba tlhagelelang gone jaanong jaana ra re a re tieng re saleng puso e tsepameng puso ya African National Congress e setseng e na le dingwaga di le 103 e ntse e bontsha setšhaba tsela ka mafoko ao le nna ke a leboga mme ka re ga e le tekanyetsokabo ra e thekga ra e support ke a leboga
Honorable members, Honorable Smith, can you continue the debate? Order, honorable members, order. No, it's the timing, the clock. Can the clock be set?
Is it fun?
Mine is not.
It says 1 minute.
It says 1 minute, mine.
Okay.
Oh,
so
once
one
you
says
start
me. Okay,
speaking.
no problem. Thank you. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable members, members of the public, and guests in the gallery. Welcome to this very important debate. Farming and agriculture lies close to the hearts of all South Africans, as it is in our blood. If we look into our respective histories, we will find that the majority of our forefathers were farmers. And this is why this is such an important and emotional topic, together with ownership of land, as we cannot separate the two. Unfortunately, the ANC is acting highly irresponsible by nurturing an insecure environment to operate in as a farmer, and almost impossible environment for new emerging farmers. But allowing Minister Nkwinti to make flip-flop announcements on the ownership of land will not help to create the 1 million jobs in agriculture, Honourable Minister. By cutting the department's budget between 158 million and 210 million rand per financial year over the next 3 financial years will not help to create the 1 million jobs as per the National Development Plan, Honourable Minister. By ignoring the rural crime and farm murder crisis will not help to create the 1 million much needed jobs for our poor rural communities, Honourable Minister. By dropping a 25 kilogram bag of millipeps for every 2 hectares of farm as part of the Fetsatlala program in Leboheng in Sekhukhune in Limpopo as the only form of assistance to upcoming farmers will not cultivate the 1 million jobs needed to make a U-turn on the current 36% unemployment rate, Honourable Minister. The ANC has become selfish and obsessed with owning all the land and controlling it, that it has forgotten to care for the poor, unemployed youth of this country, Honourable Minister. Wake up, Honourable Minister. Your department will have nothing to administer if we continue on this path of uncertainty.
Honourable Smith, just hold. On what point are you rising, Honourable Pakis?
Chair, we are not debating the land, we are debating agriculture. And is it parliamentary for a member
that's
to
a point.
mislead
That's
the
a point
House?
for debate, Honourable
ANC
Pakis.
is not owning land.
Honourable
South
Pakis, for order. I cautioned Honourable Matthijs earlier on. May we be consistent with that. Let's not interrupt the speaker. You'll get your chance. If you've got different views to what he's saying, you'll raise your issues. Honorable Smith.
Honorable member, the honorable member from the ANC that is actually from the SACP, who's standing for owning all the land and don't want to give the people a single piece of land at the end of the day, is the one who's speaking to me now. But in any way.
On what Honorable Smith just told?
No,
take
thank
a
you very
seat.
much, Chair.
On what point are you rising, Honorable Member?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm standing on a point of order. The honorable member is deliberately misleading the public that the ANC or SACP does not give land. Land is with them. They must give land to us so that we can give people the land.
Honorable Member, no. Can I make a ruling on that, please? I didn't pick up the point of ANC ruling, owning the land. I heard ANC government. But then, if there is a contestation on how the statement was structured, may you allow me then to listen to answer and make a please. Can you continue, Honorable Member?
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. I think it's pinching at this stage under the ANC. Sorry to hurt you. Take some time and stand up for your department, Honorable Minister, for your department's interests, Honorable Minister, by having a hard talk with Minister Nkwintu, who obviously does not understand agriculture at all. It is clear that the ANC did not think it through when they, as usual, choose the lazy option of one-size-fits-all approach to land ownership by announcing universal land caps of 1,000 hectares for small farms, 2,500 hectares for medium farms, and 5,000 hectares for commercial farms. Please, Minister, you go and farm in the Karoo with sheep on a so-called 5,000 hectare commercial farm. It is similar to building a mansion on 1 square meter of earth, senseless and impossible. Minister, can you please explain to South Africa why we are importing chickens from the US now? I can take you now to over 1,000 villages with poor unemployed people who would eagerly take part in farming with chickens if they just got their support from your department, Honorable Minister, as well as existing farmers who would eagerly participate in partnerships with these rural communities to produce this shortage of chickens. But no, rather import it and kill some more desperately needed jobs. According to Absa Bank's Agri-Trends document of 29 May this year, there has been a 50% decline in applications to buy agricultural land over the past 2 years. And this is due to bad land reform policy that hampers investment in agriculture as well as political statements on land reform and land use that creates uncertainty. Agri-Parks is a great initiative, Honorable Minister, to support upcoming farmers in communal areas. But the reality is that these farmers will not be able to build equity as they are refused title to the land. It is like breastfeeding a baby and strangling it at the same time. Another populist move by the ANC to hold on to power by controlling access to opportunities for the people in communal areas at huge cost to their constitutional rights and individual freedoms to choose for themselves. Unfortunately for you, Honorable Minister, your predecessor, Honorable Minister Jomet Peterson, left you a fisheries department in absolute disarray. She basically destroyed the industry through FRAP 2013. Honorable Minister, I must say that I am now really worried. I truly hope that you are not leaving this section of your department to your cowboy Deputy Minister, Becky Kele. As the last time he answered questions in this House.
Honorable Smith, may you please withdraw usage of the word cowboy because the member is an honorable member who happens to be a Deputy Minister.
I withdraw and rephrase.
Thank you very much.
As the last time he answered questions in this house on fisheries, he could not differentiate between a normal catfish and a silver catfish, or also called mackerel. In fact, he pointed to a piece of paper in his hand and replied to me that the cat of the water is here. Shocking, to say the least. I'm sorry to say, Honourable Minister, but the Honourable Deputy Minister Cele has got no clue when it comes to fisheries, as it does not apply to his shoot-to-kill approach to matters. Minister, I truly believe that your department is overlooking a gold mine for job creation and food security by not investing in the potential of freshwater aquaculture. I know that your reply to me will be that the inland communities do not eat as much fish, but that is due to the lack of supply of freshwater fish, Honourable Minister. Freshwater aquaculture can contribute greatly to stimulate the rural economy and supply cost-effective protein diets as an alternative to chicken and beef. Minister, under a DA government, we will unlock the potential of agriculture, forestry and fisheries in South Africa that you are unable to do under the ANC government that has been swallowed by the SACP and their authoritarian ideologies. The DA will ensure that our communities have full ownership of their freedom through a culture of fairness to access opportunities and create a better life for themselves and their families through hard work and commitment. This is a dream of a great South Africa, which we call Vision 2029. We are the only party that cares enough that can help to grow our people through agriculture, forestry and fisheries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable members, because of we might be tempted to repeat the same mistake, I thought in actual fact an honourable member would rise on a direct point of order, because reference is made to an SACP that cannot answer for itself in this house. So I would really caution members not to make statements about people or organizations that would not be able to respond for themselves or answer for themselves in this house. There is an organization referred to as the SACP, but they are not, it's not an organization that contested elections and that is directly represented through the Electoral Act in Parliament. So we should just avoid those kind of situations. Honorable Member, let me see Matsoga. Limpopo, Agriculture and Rural Development.
Honorable Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable members of the National Council of Provinces, our Honorable Minister Zogwana, ladies and gentlemen, we are on course to ultimately push the triple challenge of unemployment, poverty, and equality backwards. I take this priceless opportunity to point out to this august House the sterling contributions of agriculture, the breadbasket of our country, our forest of hope, and lungs of our lives, and treasures of fisheries to the South African good story. Recently, to be precise, on the 28th of May 2015, the world celebrated World Hunger Day, which is a moment to reflect on the ignominious state of food security worldwide, with a view to exploring ways and means to end up this scourge. Not much was said about this day. It did not hawk the media headlines, yet more than 800 million people are adversely affected by the painful pangs of chronic hunger. We are unpacking this budget vote at the time when the country is commemorating the Youth Month, in particular June 16. That day, during our winter of discontent in 1976, saw my generation spark a revolt against the use of Afrikaans as a medium of instruction in our schools. We also celebrated Africa Month in May, which was a period dedicated to the celebration of the virtues of our beloved and beautiful country. Chairperson, in contributing its fair share of moving South Africa forward, the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries unveiled its Budget Vote 24. Among other milestones, the budget addressed the following: an announcement regarding the approval of Agricultural Policy Action Plan, which was developed in conjunction with the private sector, demonstrates the strides we are making as a country. APAP gives effect to Chapter 6 of the NDP, dealing with the comprehensive creation of an integrated and inclusive rural economy. Most importantly, APAP emphasizes agricultural investment through the sector value chain. It is through APAP, which was developed in consultation again with the private sector, that an estimated 1 million hectares of underutilized land will be brought into full production over the next 3 years. This will enable to promote job creation on a massive scale, precisely because its value chain approach in priority commodities, particularly those with high growth potential and high labor absorption capacity, is central to the National Development Plan employment creation within the agricultural sector. Honorable Chair, APAP will also unlock the economic potential of the country in the processed agriculture project sector and promote international trade, especially because government is set to introduce an export-led and import substitution strategy, which obviously will mean more job opportunities are created in the domestic economy. Moreover, with its focus on promoting intra-African trade and trade with China, APAP will be an effective tool of consolidating our country's foreign policy. An integrated approach of the economic cluster vis-à-vis the production activity within the agricultural sector has many advantages in addition to the improvement of productive efficiency. These include and are not limited to the enhancing the productivity of the support to smallholder and new entrants. This will promote community empowerment because most smallholder farmers are at the grassroots level within our communities. In addition, the size of their entities places this section of farmers within the small business sector. This means there is a small business development benefit as well as the job creation opportunities which can easily be discerned and counted. To the honorable member, the bags of seed we are providing to our farmers is better than a bag of meal you are giving to our parents. Don't throw stones whilst we are in a house of glass. The human race, in this case, all the inhabitants of this beloved country, cannot enjoy total freedom in our fauna and flora are neglected. We endeavor to always strike a healthy balance between human beings and other living organisms within our ecosystem. That is why we are improving access to veterinary services by delivering mobile and prefabricated clinics and also producing medical equipment and pharmaceuticals to be used at the sites. The total cost of this project is close to 80 million. The advancement of agriculture and education. DAV has availed financial assistance to several students at various levels of tertiary studies because we earnestly believe that investment in human capital is the engine that will drive us to our destination to attain maximum excellence. Moreover, people are our primary assets. We are also on the cusp of developing veterinarians as part of the compulsory community service program, because our graduates have to first and foremost test their skills in their communities. They are members of their communities before they are students and graduates. The land shall be shared among those who worked it. In a more expanded form, this clause explains that the democratic state shall shoulder and the responsibility of providing those who work the land and the peasants with the implements, seeds, tractors, and dams. Some of our interventions, such as Fesatlala Food Security Program and the revitalization of irrigation schemes, are efforts to translate this clause into reality in order to push the frontiers of the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and equality backwards. The Honorable Minister has said it all in terms of national performance in this program. Let us join hands and deliver food to all our people. Remember, Cibus est vita nostra. Food is our life. No piece of arable and fertile land must be allowed to lie fallow. It must be used to meaningfully add value to our socio-economic growth and development that will benefit all our people in this country and also contribute to the overall well-being of the human race worldwide. This is what we seek to achieve in the new South Africa. As stated in the Freedom Charter, restrictions of land ownership on a racial basis shall be ended, and all the land redivided among those who work it to banish famine and land hunger. Limpopo will continue to applaud their traditional leaders for the role that they are playing in collaborating with the province in the provision of communal land for agricultural purposes. Chair, our forests of hope are integral to our good story. In September, a month during which both the Abba Week and the Abba Day are celebrated, our country will be host the 14th World Forestry Congress, a 9-decades-old event held every 6 years. This will be a groundbreaking moment, precisely because our continent and country will be hosting this event for the first time. The theme of the WFC is Forest and People, investing in a sustainable future. The WFC will provide a platform for the identification and analysis of the major issues facing the sector, as well as raising awareness about new forms of technical, scientific, and policy actions that will result in the great sustainability of forest through linking sound policy and feasible practice. Moreover, key stakeholders, including the youth, women, indigenous people, and local communities, will be able to voice the main concerns of their various constituencies. In my province, Limpopo, plans are in the offing to hold a summit focusing on women in the forestry sector during the month of August, when our country highlights the plight of the women folk. Our shoal of fisheries has been placed at the core of development intervention. As a result, the country's aquatic wealth will...
Summarize, Mr.
Thank you, Chairperson. Our shoal of fisheries has been placed in the core of development intervention. As a result, the country's aquatic wealth will be unlocked as the ocean economy. In line with the Freedom Charter commitment of providing those who work the land with dams, we have not provided this for the sole purpose of crop and farming, livestock farming. We are extending the use of this source to the aquaculture, as exemplified by Petwane Dam in the Limpopo province. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, MEC. May I therefore call on Honorable Mokwele, EFF, continue the debate.
It's a prophetic color if you don't know. Thank you, Chairperson. DA, up until you release the market for the black people, especially on poultry farming, then you will talk. So you must not just come here and tell us about land that are still in your hands. Chairperson,
you can't separate agriculture from land. So it is very much important that the stolen land be returned to their rightful owners, which is the black majority of this country. The EFF rejects budget for the fundamental two reasons. The first is that the trade liberalization policies adopted by the ANC since 1994 have significantly reduced any possibility for the development of smallholders agriculture in a country, leaving only few well-off farmers to monopolize agriculture. As a result of this, agriculture has been declining rapidly over the past few decades, threatening our food sovereignty as a nation. In 1950, South Africa had about 120,000 farmers. In 2014, we only have 37,000 farmers. Most of the farmers have been suffocated out of the system because they simply cannot breathe anymore. The ANC government, even though they have correctly identified agriculture as a growth driver, which is a very good thing, fail to understand a very simple fact that if you do not subsidize and protect our agriculture, your smallholders will be sniffed out of the system by cheap imports from countries that subsidize and protect their own farmers. The result of this, Minister, is that we now have 37,000 farmers producing 90% of our food needs, and rural inhabitants producing only 10% of our food through smallholder agriculture. And remember, where rural areas are is where majority of the blacks are. So under the ANC, our agriculture has been demolished to such an extent that we import the most basic things. We import snook fish from Australia because we cannot properly support our own people living in coastal areas to exploit marine resources in a sustainable manner. We import chicken from Brazil because our very own chicken farmers have been left to fend for themselves in a global environment where big nations support and protect their own agriculture. This is now going to be compounded by the conditions set out by the Renewal of African Growth and Opportunity Act, which has opened up a floodgate, not to heaven, for the importation of US chicken in South Africa. This means that the country will be importing about 65,000 tons of chicken from the US every year, leading to the collapse of our own poultry industry and affecting thousands of jobs. An intervention by Minister Jumat Peterson while she was, you are interrupting me, while she was still MEC of Agriculture. Of Agriculture in the Northern Cape, supposedly to develop smallholder rooibos farmers in New Vetville. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a Greek language for me. In the Northern Cape has been mired in corruption. The tea processing plant in the area is still not working. Years after it was launched, the ANC is the enemy of smallholders. The second reason we object to this budget vote is that under the ANC, the forestry sector has become a haven of corrupt and dishonest forestry monopolies backed by senior ANC politicians. State forests in the area between Stutterham and Keitskama, this thing of Africans, have been leased, we must change these names to our original names, have been leased by the department to just one company, Rance Holdings, for a period of 99 years, at just R1 per hectare per year. Just imagine our land being rented by R1. This company has since continued to thrash indigenous vegetation in the area, which in impunity without environmental authorizations. They know nothing will happen to them because they have in their board senior ANC politicians, some of whom came to this parliament to boast about their MK credentials. The new private equity scheme being implemented by rich white farmers in
Witzenberg sub-region of the Cape Winelands farming area in a continuation of misguided policies of the ANC. The previous BEE equity scheme failed to achieve 90% of its target and promised to uplift the livelihood of impoverished farm workers. There are no investigation on how the wealthy white farmers misuse 30 billion state funds to further enrich themselves at the cost of placing the farm workers who were supposed to benefit from it into further poverty. Until this matter is properly investigated and those prosecuted who misuse these state funds, the EFF and its members will reject any new equity scheme these white farmers try to implement. The budget, instead of increasing state expenditure of agriculture, does the exact opposite by reducing government expenditure in agriculture over the next few years. Thank you.
Honorable Mlambo, can you continue the debate?
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair, Honorable Minister, Honorable members, Honorable MEC from Limpopo, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and compatriots. Civilization began with agriculture when our nomadic ancestors began to settle and grow their own food. Human society was forever changed. Not only did villages, towns, and cities begin to flourish, but so did knowledge, the art, and the technologies. And for most of history, society connection to the land was intimate. Human communities, no matter how sophisticated, could not ignore the importance of agriculture. To be far from dependable sources of food was to risk malnutrition and starvation. It was therefore not a surprise that when a notion of statehood and formal governance of countries came into being, that agriculture became the backbone of economic system of a given country. And in addition to providing food and raw material, agriculture also provides employment opportunities to a very large percentage of population. In modern times, however, many in the urban world have forgotten this fundamental connection. Insulated by the apparent abundance of food that has come from new technologies for the growing, transportation, and food storage. Humanity's fundamental dependence on agriculture is often overlooked. The African National Congress, however, has not and could not forget about the importance of agriculture. Was its document ready to govern. The ANC stated, and I quote, "The development of a productive agricultural sector and a viable rural economy is necessary for economic growth and the well-being of all South Africans. The productive potential of the land and the people living on it should be effectively harnessed for the benefit of the entire nation. Our agricultural land should be treated as a fragile and precious resource base which belongs to future generations. And our policies will ensure its enrichment, protection, and its productive utilization as a foundation for food production," I close quote. Soon after being elected overwhelmingly into power in 1994, the African National Congress, through an agricultural policy, wherein it states that this agricultural policy will continue to be developed in response to changes in our society and economy. The mission of this policy was to achieve equitable access to and optimal use of agricultural resource to ensure, among other things, the following: affordable and sufficient food and fiber for all South Africans, a life of dignity for all on the land, the creation of employment and elimination of rural poverty, full realization of agriculture's contribution to economic development, and conservation of our natural resources for the benefit of future generations. When one looks at these mission objectives, one will realize that they echo what is contained in the Freedom Charter, for it provides that all the land shall be divided among those who work it, to banish famine and land hunger. This civil call by the Freedom Charter to eradicate hunger was also echoed elsewhere in 1974 during the First World Food Conference in Rome, in Italy. An international commitment was made to eradicate the most basic problem of mankind, food insecurity. The pledge by world leaders at this conference recognized that all people have a right to an adequate diet. The conference proclaimed that every man, woman, and child has the inalienable right to be free from hunger and malnutrition in order to develop their physical and mental faculties. Since this conference, there has been a number of other meetings to deal with the issue of food insecurity. They include the 1996 World Summit on Food Security, 2002 World Food Summit, and the 2009 World Summit on Food Security, all taking place in Rome. Last year, the African Union declared 2014 as the year of agriculture and food security across Africa. However, despite all this, there is still an estimated 1 billion people worldwide who suffer from chronic hunger, and about 300 million are from sub-Saharan Africa. This is despite Africa accounting for about 25% of the world unused fertile land. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, South Africa has got a population of more than 52 million people, and this population needs to have quality of life. For them to enjoy a high quality of life, they need agriculture. Agriculture provides food, clothing, and shelter. It does this because at present, agriculture above and beyond farming includes forestry, dairy, fruit cultivation, poultry, beef keeping, mushroom, abattoirs, etc. Today, processing, market, and distribution of crops and livestock product, etc., all acknowledged as part of agriculture. We need to sensitize our people, especially our youth, of this broad spectrum of agriculture so that they can come on board in this sector. This will go a long way in dealing with youth unemployment. Even our Vision 2030, the National Development Plan, recognizes the role that agriculture will have to play to eradicate unemployment. It identifies 600,000 potential jobs in communal areas and 300,000 jobs through commercial agriculture. That is why it calls for an inclusive rural economy wherein rural communities should have greater opportunities to participate fully in the economic, social, and political life of their country. The problem that I'm having with the Honorable Member, Honorable Smith, from the TA, is taking the Vision 2030 and reducing it to one digit. They're saying the TA has Vision 2029, which is not documented anyway. Where is the document? So that's the problem that I'm having, you know. We as the African National Congress are fully behind this Vision 2030. Yeah, whether it's party vision, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't document it. We therefore supported the Ministry's draft Preservation and Development of Agricultural Land Framework Bill of 2015, which seeks to vest all agricultural land in state as custodian for the people of South Africa. This draft bill contains a key clause stating that agricultural land is common heritage of all people of South Africa, and the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries is the custodian thereof of the benefit of all South Africans. There are some people who are being disingenuous and referring this draft bill, this draft bill as the ex-appropriation agricultural land bill. They do so despite the standing decision by the Constitutional Court that where an entity or person's loss of ownership does not lead to the state acquiring ownership of this land. This means no expropriation has occurred and thus no compensation is payable. Honorable Chairperson,
time is expired.
Thank you very much. As the ANC, we support this budget vote.
Thank you very much. Honorable Masango.
Phini lasihlalo hloniphekile ngqongqoshe wezolimo namahlathi ozakwethu honorable members nabasivakashele namhlanje ngiyanibingelela lomnyango phini lasihlalo uthole imali usabelo sezimali esehlisiwe kulokho ebesikthole kulonyaka ophelile kusukela ku-6.6 billion kuya ku-6.3. Ingabe lokho kukhombisa ukuthi khona okufanele sikhathazeke ngako ngalomnyango ngoba kunjalo njena kunalomthetho phini lasihlalo okuthiwa uhlongoza ukuthi kube uwona ozolondoloza noma ke uthuthukise imihlaba yezolimo kodwa isikhathi lomthetho esinikezwe abantu imiphakathi yethu ukuthi iphawule ngalomthetho sincane kakhulu. Senzeke imizamo njenge-Democratic Alliance ukuthi sibhalele ungqongqoshe ukuthi sicela ukuthi aselule lesikhathi ngoba lomthetho usemqoka kakhulu uma kuwukuthi kuzothathwa umhlaba yokulima yabantu bakuleli laseNingizimu Afrika iphathwe uhulumeni. Siyacela ke ngqongqoshe ohloniphekile ukuba usiphe welule lesisikhathi ukuze abantu bakwazi ukuphawula ngalomthetho ngoba uzwakala sengathi umthetho osemqoka kakhulu. In the DA run Western Cape lasikhona manje South Africa's key agricultural export region, we are striving to achieve a success rate of at least 70% on all agricultural land reform to increase sustainable agricultural production by at least 10% over the next 10 years. Phini lasihlalo thina ke singafani nokhongolose kuthiwa yi-ANC siyaqaphela kakhulu ukuthi sidale amathuba emsebenzi ngokuthi kuko konke esikwenzayo emhlabeni lapho esilima khona siqinisekise ukuthi abantu abalimi abasafufusa bathola amathuba ukuthi basebenzise imhlaba yabo. Siyaqhenya-ke ngalokho, and if the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries continues along the vein of doing what I've just outlined now, the DA, sooner rather than later, will bring freedom, fairness, and greater opportunity as it has done in the Western Cape. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. May I then call on Honorable Parkis, ANC.
Honorable Chair, our revolution exists and prevails.
Honorable Smith, on what point are you rising? Just take your seat, Honorable Parkis.
Honorable House Chair, I'm actually surprised that the EFF is clapping hands for the Honorable Parkis.
No, that's not a
now
point
together?
of order. Honorable Parkis, may you continue the debate? No, you don't need to. No, you don't need to respond to that. It's fine.
Honorable Chair,
No, take your seat.
Honorable Chair, our revolution exists, prevail beyond the dull, limited, flippant ideas. Let me recognize the Minister, members of this esteemed House, and the Department. My entry point in my reordered speech, we need to be deliberate on action to temper and interrupt the labyrinthine structure of food system and seed industry. That's my entry point, Chair. Agriculture is the basis of our food security and nutritious needs. This is why we need to comprehend the political economy of agriculture as an industry. During the 20th century, intensive farming had saved 44% of the planet Earth for wilderness. Even during the mid-18th century, agriculture dominated the economies of the countries during the phase of industrialization to absorb the large numbers of the concealed unemployment left by industrial expansion. The significance of agriculture is attested by the undeniable fact that 70% of worldwide rural poor depends on this sector for income. Agriculture output, therefore, is part of the political economy. In every 10 jobs, there's one related to what is happening on the farm, one way or another, in shape and content. It is veritable, Chair, that South Africa between 2002 and 2013, the number of households experiencing hunger reduced from 29.3 to 13.4, yet while individuals experiencing hunger decreased from 23.8 to 11%. Albeit, Honorable Chair, we know to the seriousness of the scenarios sketched for 2014-2030, recently held, Honorable Minister, on food production risk in the country. This process, government, we are told, was involved academics, civil society, economists, and experts. Some of the elements include the level and decline of food production, the number of commercial farmers involved in food production, food prices, and the affordability and polarized sector. Currently, 40% of world population is employed, or their employment is associated with agriculture. The EU negotiated Trade Development Cooperation. Chair, if I'm left with 3 minutes, please alert me. Trade Development Cooperation Agreement has effect and pressure on our local industry. The US poultry issue. But the big question is, how many jobs, Honorable Minister, have been created by the US imports? Can't we build our own massive job opportunity for people by investing in poultry? The next issue that I want to raise, Honorable Chair, is the issue that relates to seed industry. The global seed trade is estimated to have sales of approximately 45 billion US dollars, while exports from South Africa worth close to 73 million US dollars. Imports estimated to 89 million US dollars. As a country, we contribute 50% of the total African seas business, putting us to be a major player in the market. Africa as a continent import 40% of its food seas, which big share of this food seas, big share originates from or outside our continent. The big issue is who are involved. We carry knowledge, Honorable Minister, of the current or the recent past processes relating to the bills that were involved in Parliament. The seed policy is critical in our economy. The granting of intellectual property rights should not be at the expense of the small-scale farmers in our country and the region and the agro-biodiversity, but protect the seed monopoly companies. It is a point that we cannot have grandiose policies, but we fail to penetrate and temper. The fate of our people, Honorable Chair, cannot be left entirely to the judgment of liberal corporate regime and the masters of grand lasting, precisely because food is first and foremost a source of nutrition and only secondary an item of trade. We need to replace the uniform of the past with a new diversity in the supply chain with urgency to make progress in the seed industry. Only few companies are involved. The pioneers, Monsanto, Link Seed, Agricole, Clean Karoo, and others. We need state-led process to have two massive cooperatives constituted of the rural poor to be involved in this industry if we are to be genuine about black economic empowerment. Regulations and the policy on trans-border movement of seed and the involvement of our people as producers, breeders, distributors, exporters, including labeling, are important aspects in this industry. However, there are no concurrent legislation in place protecting the traditional agriculture. Linked to the aforesaid is the rapid development of genetically modified plant material, which includes seeds that are aggressively promoted by the multinational developers.
Responding to your request.
Oh, thank you. Therefore, the above or the aforesaid view or perspective represent a holistic view and approach, Honorable Minister, on our articulated reindustrialization and agro-industrial approach in the context of unfolding agri-parks, which should not be hijacked by the bloated bourgeois vampire elite. These agri-parks represent a great potential to lift up our people who are reverberating in the abyss of grinding, tormenting poverty. We need to be convulsive in reorganizing food trade, and the current global food system is not to be built on the free liberalized food trade. Engos.
No. I was saying, you said I should remind you when you are left for 3 minutes. And that's exactly what I did. Your time is not up. Yeah.
No, I've cut my speech.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Okay. Okay, Honorable Minister, you may conclude the debate.
Thanks, Deputy Chairperson. I thank those who have spoken, but I'll quote one famous man who led the Germans to the end of the Second World War, Dr. Joseph Goebbels, when he outlined their bill to tell a big lie, telling it repeatedly when no truth is told until the lie becomes the truth. It was the admission by the MEC or minister in the Western Cape to the fact that in a DA-controlled province, black farmers constitute less than 1%, and I don't know which area is the DA relying upon on their own research.
Honorable Smith. Honorable Minister, can you take a seat?
Honorable,
Order, honorable members. May I listen to Honorable Smith? On what point are you rising?
Honorable Deputy Chair, I'm standing on a point of clarity. I would like to hear where this statistics come from.
There's no point of that nature. Honorable Minister, can you conclude?
Thanks again, but we have taken the points that the DA is raising and the dream of them being a future government that will afford people in a province in which people are paid by liquor, which is still the case in the Western Cape, where workers work in farms are paid with liquor because they are black, not whites. It's happening in the Western Cape. So I don't know where the DA will learn these tricks of being the best of those work.
Just hold. Honorable Uskachni, on what
Honourable
point are
Chair,
you rising?
I rise on a point of order, on a point of clarity. I would like to know if the Minister would answer us how much he pays his workers.
Honorable members, I'm unable to hear what the member is saying. I didn't even hear what she said. What is it
Honourable
that you
Chair,
said?
I would like to know if the Minister would take a question.
Honorable Minister, are you prepared to take a question?
Not now, I've got limited time, but if she wants that question answered, I can do outside.
No, she's not prepared. He's not prepared.
So what I'm saying, therefore, is that I've listened to the DA. Let me tell you, Honorable Smith, we know very well what is happening in the oceans. The oceans are the lungs of the earth. The oxygen we breathe is from there. I was last week in Durban watching a very particular event that happens very rarely when I was watching the sardine runs. What a beauty. It is an area that the DA, during your times of your forefathers, you never transformed. Hence, there are few black people in that area. So then on the issue of land, I know you will complain all the time about the fact that in our country, we must not transform. We will transform land. We will engage farmers. I have listened to farmers. What they are saying, unfortunately, is not what you are saying. I have listened with them. I was with them even last week. So farmers have come forward with good proposals. I can tell you that we're working with women of land reform very efficiently. We're meeting with farmers and we're engaging them. EFF, I'm very sorry. If maybe that you hate the ANC so much that you cannot even see and even you come with your own manufactured statistics, let me tell you that the word you cannot pronounce where rooibos is being processed, the information you have been given, Sisi, is unreliable, is untrue. 90 rooibos producers in the area are 70% smallholder farmers. And they produce quality rooibos. Meskin, you don't know what a rooibos is. That's why maybe you come and claim here that there's no rooibos. So on other issues, you have spoken about. I understand the pain of leaving a home you love. It is anger that drives you to say the things because it is cold outside the ANC. Come back, we'll coach you and show you that agriculture cannot be built on what Nongausa told Xhosas. Your policies are not founded. They are based on anger.
Honorable Minister, you know, I observed a very interesting thing. Earlier on when Honorable Mukwele was at the podium, I protected her twice against interruption. And she's doing exactly what I cautioned members not to do unto her. May you please allow the minister to respond?
So, thanks again. Even the EFF come to us, will give you the statistics of our production, who is producing what, and in which markets. The DA speaks about the AGOA negotiations. I understand what they are saying because they favor the fact that we could have come up with a worse agreement than the one we are having. I can assure you that the fact that we're not producing enough chicken is not because of the AGOA, it's because of the import costs. We're not producing enough soya beans to feed our chickens. It's what we're debating to doing now. So in saying, therefore, all that on the fisheries industry, I can assure you that the former minister did very well. We're going to ensure that we'll not only put, we're going to make sure that as we issue new licenses, we transform that untransformed industry. We'll make sure that we do, because black people cannot continue to only compete for the shallow waters. We want them to be in deep sea, in the hake industry. You don't like that, we know, because on the last question raised behind me, my workers are earning equal to a farm worker. All of them are earning 2,400 rands, not paid by liquor as the DA allows in the Western Cape. So I'm telling you, therefore, that let's go out and build a South Africa, not go around spreading lies, because lies won't be factual. Your 2029 plan is a dream in your head, sir. Please produce it. You want to see it, but please practice first where you lead. You lead in the Western Cape. We are untransformed. Black people don't have rights to land. We're going to change land. We're going to produce in land. We'll do it because we're a government that is responsible. We won't need your license. We won't need your permit. We won't need your appraisal. I would invite the member from the EFF. Take time, Caesar, to come to my office. And we'll take you through all the programs. We'll show you what we are doing. We agree with you on some of the things you are saying. We disagree with you on the form of how we can change land. You don't grab land and build shacks instead of planting flower up and down food. So please come to our offices. On the DA member, always tell the truth. On the issue of the new bill, we have only issued a preliminary consultation. We've extended the process. Please don't come and make statements not based on fact. Better fra or ask what is happening, because you are misleading the people. Siyaqhuba bahlekazi. Asuzumiswa ngabantu abakwazayo. Sawusebenza njengomuntu ohambisa iposi. When small dogs follow him barking, he does not stop and bark back at them, for he knows where he is going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, that concludes the debate. But before I adjourn the House, there are two outstanding rulings that I quickly have to present to the House as promised. The first ruling was a ruling on a point of order raised by the Honorable Sefako regarding the remarks made by Honorable Mokhosi on the 3rd June 2015 on the policy debate budget vote number 33, tourism. Honorable members, I would like to make a ruling on a point of order raised on that particular day by Honorable Sefako. I indicated that I would seriously consider the matter and revert back to the House. During Honorable Mokhosi's speech, Honorable Sefako wrote on a point of order to object to a statement that, I quote, "Chairperson, I heard that the ANC says that it will lead until Jesus comes. That means that the ANC is going to kill people until Jesus comes. And it also means that the Marikana people has got a huge problem ahead." Against this statement, Honorable Sefako rose on a point of order that the member continuously characterizes the ANC as a murderous organization. The central objective of the debate is to deliberate and solicit views on the subject matter in question. In realizing this objective, honorable members should be at liberty to express their views as permitted by the Constitution in a manner they feel comfortable and not to be confined. That is insofar as freedom of speech is concerned. As that has got a potential of stifling debate. However, in exercising their right to freedom of expression, members should be cautious of the limitation clause as enshrined in the Constitution and the rules of the National Council of Provinces. In determining whether a statement is parliamentary or not, a side must not be lost of the overall constitutional background and framework, namely the right of every member to freedom of speech, having regard to representativity and participatory democracy, accountability, transparency, and public involvement. The rule which deals with the offensive or unparliamentary language is a broadly framed rule that allows a presiding officer to make or to take into consideration the context and tone of a particular remark or inference. The rule has been elucidated by years of established practice and convention. However, one established practice also dictates that any statement or remark that impairs a member's dignity or affronts a member's honor must place a cap on the freedom of speech. As ruled previously in this particular case, remarks that were made do not refer to the personal characteristics of a specific member of this House, rather a political party. However, members are cautioned not to articulate words which could potentially degenerate the House proceedings into chaos. As remarks do not constitute an attack on the persona of a specific member, the point can therefore not be upheld. On the ruling raised by the Honorable Nyambi regarding the remarks made by Honorable Julius, he's not here, both of them. On the 4th of June 2015, policy debate on budget vote 23, policy budget vote number 20, independent police investigative directorate, budget vote 21, justice and constitutional development, and budget vote number 18, correctional services. Honorable members, I would like to make the following as a ruling on a point of order raised on the 4th of June by Honorable A.J. Nyambi regarding the remarks by Honorable J.W.W. Julius. Indicated that I would like to consider the matter, I indicated that I would like to consider the matter and revert back to the House with a ruling. During Honorable Julius' speech, Honorable Nyambi rose on a point of order to object to the statement that, I quote, "Did the police minister do what is right in the 50-page report relieving President Zuma of any obligation of reimbursing our people for improvements on his Nkandla home?" And the people of South Africa will say no. That is the unquote, what Honorable Julius said. Against this statement, Honorable Nyambi rose on a point of order in terms of Rule 49(1) of the NCOP rules that there is a committee in another House of Parliament dealing with the very same matter. Honorable members, it is generally recognized that Parliament is made up of two houses, namely the National Assembly and National Council of Provinces. In some respects, these houses have distinct operations which may lead to different analysis depending on the context. The content of the rule of anticipation in terms of the National Assembly rules is the same as it is contained in the NCOP rules. In this instance, Rule 49(1) of the NCOP rules clearly stipulates that no member, while addressing the Council, may anticipate a discussion of a matter appearing on the order paper. This rule further stipulates that in determining whether an address to the Council is out of order on the grounds of anticipation, the officer presiding must consider whether it is probable that the matter anticipated will be discussed in the Council within a reasonable time. The rule of anticipation in this context of the NCOP does not extend to cover matters before committees of the National Assembly. The matter that has been objected to does not appear on the order paper of the Council, nor there is an indication that the matter will be deliberated upon within a reasonable time by the Council as it is required by Rule 49 of the National Council of Provinces. In view thereof, I therefore rule the rule of anticipation not applicable in this instance. Thank you very much, honorable members. The House is adjourned.
Honorable members,